These are 6 players that I'm avoiding in fantasy baseball this upcoming 2025 season, starting off with breakout star Jarren Duran of the Boston Red Sox, who is currently sporting an ADP of 19 overall. Now, it's no question that Duran is coming off a massive season that saw him post career totals in almost every category. He hit 21 homers, stole 34 bases, and scored 111 runs, all while sporting a strong .285 average. He was a consistent 5-category producer throughout the season, becoming a true league winner for many. In saying this, he is a bust pick for me due to the simple reason that I believe you're paying for a repeat performance at the price of 19th overall. This is a player who finally broke out at the age of 27, and it is fair to wonder if this will simply just be a one-off in his career. Duran is not a guy with major power, and I think you see the average drop some this year. Now, the steals should remain constant, but I expect the rest of his numbers to drop by about 10%, making him a great player, but not one worth this hefty price. Next up on my players to avoid list is Jacob Degrom of the Texas Rangers, who comes in with an ADP of 32 overall. I'm not denying the possibility that Degrom could finish as a top overall starting pitcher in fantasy this upcoming season if he does stay healthy. The problem is, he's being drafted as the 4th pitcher off the board after he's failed to throw over 100 innings in a single season since coming back in 2019. On a per-start basis, Degrom is clearly as good as any when he's on, but without consistent volume backing him up in recent history, there is major risk in this price tag. In my opinion, Degrom would have to pitch a minimum of about 140 innings to pay off this price, and I just don't think that's happening at the age of 37. While he's surely a polarizing player that many will want to reach for on draft day, it will likely be a major mistake that fantasy owners make when they look back. Just leave Degrom for another manager to gamble on in your league. Moving on to my 3rd pick to avoid in drafts, I have Willy Adames, the new San Francisco Giant, who comes in with an ADP of 61. Adames is another player coming off a career year that saw him hit 32 homers, driving 112 RBIs, and steal 21 bags. He was simply exceptional, even managing to maintain a respectable .251 average after years of this number fluctuating and holding him back from relevant fantasy production. The price for this season is steep for Adames though, and leaves very little room for any decline in his numbers. He moves from a neutral American Family Field in Milwaukee to one of the worst parks for hitters in baseball, Oracle Park in San Francisco. Along with this, the Giants lineup leaves much to be desired with other players who may also take a step back in Matt Chapman and Tyler Fitzgerald. I really don't think we see Adames run nearly as much this year either, so if those stolen bases drop from 21 to single digits and his average falls closer to career norms, then you have a player that falls well short of his ADP. To me, it just feels again like you're paying a price that represents his upside, and that's not something that I'm willing to do with Adames this year. And yet another 2024 breakout star is Brenton Doyle of the Colorado Rockies, who also makes my avoid list this year with a resounding ADP of 77th overall. Getting to hit in the friendly confines of Coors Field can be a lifesaver for many, and it most definitely was for Doyle last year. At home, he had a remarkable .313 average, yet on the road, that number fell to a disaster .211 mark. It was clear that Coors Field was covering Doyle's many flaws in his game, and I just don't see that happening to the same degree again in 2025. Doyle does have a solid power-speed blend, having put up 23 homers and 30 stolen bases last year, but I think his counting stats and average will take a major dip this year. If his 2025 is more along the lines of 20 homers, 30 stolen bases, and a .230-ish average, with declining RBI and run totals like many projection sites have, then his overall value will take a major hit. To me personally, he's at max a 2-category contributor that's most definitely not worth a pick inside the top 100. Randy Arozarena of the Seattle Mariners comes in at an ADP of just over 100, which is actually a discount compared to the past few seasons for him. Randy has always been a popular draft day target due to his ability to hit for power while also providing a decent amount of speed. He's actually had 4 consecutive 2020 seasons now, showing a sense of consistency in those often too important categories. However, Arozarena lacks in the counting stat categories as well as average, making him susceptible to dragging down your team when the power and speed aren't present. He hit just .219 last year with 60 RBIs, and the move to Seattle from Tampa Bay surely doesn't help his case at all. It's also fair to wonder if the Mariners will let him be as aggressive on the bases after he was caught 10 times in 30 attempts last year. He was only on pace for 12 steals during his time with the Mariners after all. Neither the power or speed are dominant enough for Arozarena to warrant a price sitting just outside the 100 mark. And that brings us to the final player on my avoid list for 2025, which is second baseman Brice Turang of the Milwaukee Brewers. Turang comes in with an average draft position of 132nd overall, which is absolutely unjustifiable in my opinion. This number is almost entirely based on him stealing 50 bases last year, which is great, but the problem is that he doesn't provide much help anywhere else. Stolen bases are as prevalent as ever with the new MLB rule changes, so there's no need to chase steals in your drafts. Turang only had 7 homers, 57 RBIs, 72 runs, and even his average of 254 is nothing to be impressed about. It's likely that 50 stolen bases are not in his foresight in 2025, as many projection systems have him in the 30 to 40 range, so that leaves plenty to be desired in his profile. Unless he repeats his stolen base totals from last year and puts up double-digit home run numbers, I'm confident in saying that Turang won't pay off his price. Let someone else chase his steals. And that concludes my players to avoid for 2025. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next one.